Welcome to the Needs Analysis Screencast. I'm your host, Bob Eller, and today we're going to be talking with Michael Greaney from George Washington University's Instructional Needs Analysis class. He's here to talk about his needs assessment on performance analysis at Dominion Energy's nuclear stations.
Thanks for having me, Bob.
Why don't you start by telling us the background on the needs analysis you performed?
Sure thing, Bob. Training to improve plant performance is a keystone of training operators and technicians in the nuclear industry. Dominion Energy uses a process called Performance Analysis Performance Improvement Instrument, or PAPI, and it's used by the Nuclear Training Department in their procedure TRAA 100 analysis. This procedure is used by instructors who have completed instructor training via Dominion Energy's Nuclear Instructor Certification Program. In the spring of 2018, the responsibility for performing this portion of the procedure is going to be shifted to members of the Organizational Effectiveness Department. These members are part of the Performance Improvement and Training Group within the Organizational Effectiveness Department. The client wants a needs analysis to analyze the training that is going to be required of the new group to perform this task. The organizational effectiveness personnel are highly experienced with an in-depth knowledge of operation, maintenance, and technical operations of a nuclear power plant. They will need comprehensive instruction on TRAA 100. The targeted population is adult learners who most likely have at least 4-year engineering degrees or are seasoned nuclear power plant professionals with many years of experience in the field. It's important that these personnel are trained to conduct this analysis properly, as they will be evaluating performance deficiencies at the nuclear facility and will be working with training personnel to determine if training is the right solution to the deficiency.
So, how did you go about conducting the assessment?
I met with the client, Jim Armstrong, to discuss his needs. From there, I started the data collection plan. Once that was finalized, I went into the data collection process. I interviewed the instructional technologist for Dominion Energy. I reviewed the change management or implementation plan that this change was part of. It is part of a larger change that is taking place at Dominion and in the nuclear industry. I reviewed key performance indicators that were related to the performance improvement instruments. I interviewed key personnel in the organizational department, and I reviewed completed performance improvement instruments from the training department to see how the training department was conducting these assessments. I had to do some follow-up interviews, but then I analyzed the information and then made my recommendations to the client.
So, Mike, what are some of the lessons learned from your experience?
I learned that when starting your data collection plan, to ensure that the business needs have been finalized. Should those needs change, then so will your questions and review points change for assessing the learning and learner needs. If you have a data collection plan filled out, you may have to redo some sample questions.
That's a good lesson learned.
Yes, so the word to the wise is to be flexible, and in your initial client interview, ensure that all members of the team are on board and aware of the problem. And last, I learned that time management and communication of the interviews with the Organizational Effectiveness Department and of the project itself could have been better. I should have made a timeline and communicated that timeline in my initial contact with the members. If they had known of the deadlines, then they may have responded quicker and I would have been able to manage the schedule better. I left myself with not much time once the plans had changed. Remember, there's a phrase, a failure to plan is a plan to failure. Prepare for follow-up questions. After planning your interview questions, be prepared for follow-up questions and where they may lead you. It goes with the advice of not going in with biases. The information and the answers will lead you where you need to go.
Those are some good advice on the experiences you had. What would you say to others who are starting on their needs analysis?
I would reinforce time management of the project and to communicate the timeline to the participants. You don't want to be rushed into your analysis.
Thanks for joining us on this screencast, and thank you, Michael, for joining us.
Thanks again, Bob. I'd like to finish off by saying I had a great experience performing this needs analysis, and I learned some new aspects of needs analysis, and I'll be applying them to my job here at Dominion Energy.
That's all, folks. Join us next time as we discuss instructor continuing training on Moodle. Crazy good or crazy bad?